Hi, I'm Jack Olesker. I'm the president and CEO of 24/7 Productions. We're a motion picture and television production company. By way of introduction, I've written, produced, and directed over 1,200 episodes of television, 17 motion pictures, and I've published 6 novels. If that sounds a little bit boastful, I'm sorry, okay? I believe that modesty and humility are overrated virtues. One of the greatest coaches of all time, Bear Bryant from the Crimson Tide, once said that it's not bragging if it's true. It's true. Everything I've just said is true. You don't believe me? Go to jackolesker.com. Check out my credentials. You know, I promised my kids when they were growing up that Daddy will always keep his promises. And I'm going to do the same thing for you. And here's what I promise you. You ain't never seen anything like me. I've been in this business for 47 and a half years. I've made the journey. And I'm going to share this journey with you in all of these episodes. And you're not going to know what you're going to be getting. And frankly, I'm not going to know what I'm going to give you until I give it to you. But what I will tell you is that you're going to find out about the motion picture industry, the television industry, the publishing industry. You're going to find out about everything that has to do with entertainment. I'm going to pull back the curtain and I'm going to show you what my journey was. And the journey is what it's about. And like I said, I'm going to be all over the place. But in this episode, I want to talk about the journey. You know, it sounds just great. Wow, you know, this guy's written, produced, and directed 1,200 episodes of television, and all these motion pictures, and all these books. Those are great. But those were moments, okay? When you finish a script, when you finish a novel, and you walk into Brentano's and you see your book on the shelf there, when you do those things, it's a moment. But it took me a long time to realize that that's not what it's about. What it's about is the journey. Years ago, I was honored to give the keynote speech at the River Bend Film Festival, prestigious film festival. And I walked into a theater. I was at the podium, and there were about 200 people in the theater. And I know a lot of them were film school graduates. And they ran a lot of the different clips from projects that I've done over the years, Power Rangers, Care Bears. I've done so much of my early career in children's television shows that many of you, I'm sure, grew up with He-Man, Mask, Inspector Gadget. I'm the guy that your parents have to blame for the toys that they had to buy for you. And at the time, I was the president of a motion picture company in Chennai, India, called Ken Creative. And I was talking about international co-productions. And after I gave my speech, I opened it up for Q&A. And this one young lady, and I could tell again that she was a film school graduate, she said, "Mr. Olesker, you've been in business for, at that time, 35 years. She said, "It must be so easy for you to sell a project." And like I'm doing now, I kind of covered my smile. And then I said, you know, what you need to understand is that every single time, and that includes the 1,300 episodes of television that I wrote, that includes the 17 motion pictures, that includes the 6 novels I published. Every single time you begin, you are in the foothills of the Matterhorn, K2, and Mount Everest, and you are looking up at a 29,000-foot climb. And I told this young lady, there's no question that after decades in this industry with the God-given talent that I've got, and believe me, it's God-given, and that's another subject for another time, there is no question that I've developed great mountain climbing skills, and I can afford the best mountain climbing equipment. But every single time, it is an arduous trek, and you'll walk into pitfalls along the way, crevasses, the snow falling out from underneath your feet as you're climbing. And eventually you get to the top and you plant that flag into the top of the hill. But as wonderful as that moment is, it's the journey that it's about. I've got a little, I know you can't see it on camera, but I'll show it to you. It's a little saying. And it's what Hannibal told his generals when they said, "You can't cross these mountains with elephants and with an army. Are you out of your mind?" And Hannibal's response was, "Either I will find a way or I will make one." And in my life, when I've had challenges, I make a way. I don't become averse to adversity. I welcome it and I embrace it, because it is adversity that makes us stronger. It is adversity that we encounter during the journey that makes us stronger. And I guess it's time for me to wrap it up for this episode. My wife, Kim, is on the other side of that camera, by the way. She's an award-winning producer and director in her own right, and you'll get to know her more as we go along. But I just wanted to start out by giving you a little bit of an understanding about my mindset that I've gained so much knowledge of over the last, over 4 decades. And it's my joy to share it with you. I'm going to wrap it up with one quick story. Kim and I were at a pub that we enjoy. It's almost my office. It's called the Stray Dog in New Buffalo, Michigan, about 3 years ago. And the bartender there, Joey DiMaggio, likes to out me sometimes when we get Chicagoans that come in. We live in a little resort village on the shores of Lake Michigan. It's kind of like a Currier and Ives print during the winter time. And I'll also talk about why, in other episodes, why I've got a lot of Christmas stuff on my desk. But that's a story for another time. But we're in Stray Dog one night. There's 3 couples over on the other side of the bar, and I know Joey's telling them Jack did Power Rangers and Care Bears and Inspector Gadget. And these 3 young couples, they start chanting, Power Rangers, and they're sending Kim and I shots of Fireball, and they come over, and I'm arm wrestling with the guys. The pub is packed. And Kim and I are getting ready to walk out after about 2 hours. We had such a great time with these 3 young couples. And this one young lady comes up to me. She says, "Mr. Olesker, would you mind if I spoke to you for a minute?" So I said, "Sure." I said, "Only if you call me Jack." I said, "Mr. Olesker's up in heaven looking down." I said, "I don't know. He was a tough businessman. Maybe he's down below looking up." I said, "What can I do for you?" She said, "When I grew up," she said, "I was in a dysfunctional family. My father was verbally abusive to my mother. And she said, all week long, I waited for one thing." She said, "I waited for the Care Bears." She said it was my oasis. And she said, I want to thank you for saving my childhood. And she said, do you mind if I hug you? And I said, come here. I'm sorry. You don't know what a tough guy you're dealing with. I was born on the south side of Chicago. All my fingers are broken from battles. I was a helicopter search and rescue combat medic. They used to lower me out of the chopper to pick up down pilots. So I'm a pretty tough guy. But when this girl said this, when she said, you saved my childhood, she said, do you mind if I hug you? I said, honey, come here. So about a year after that, I was giving a speech at our Rotary Club, and somebody asked the question. She said, why do you do what you do? And I related that story. And that's the answer. Listen, it's great. Okay, you're successful. You make some money. You can drive a nice car, wear a nice watch. But that's not what it's about. It's touching people's lives. And that's what I hope to do in these episodes. I hope I touch your life. I hope I bring you information that you can use, how to write, where to find your ideas, how to write a 600-page novel, okay? How to do a first draft that's 1,300 pages and then edit it down to 600 pages, which is like performing surgery on yourself. I hope to give you a lot of information because for me, I found, and it took me a lifetime to get it, I found that it's in giving that you get. And I'm gonna give a lot to you, and I hope to get something back in return. You have a good day. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.